So this is the beginning of the material for the second test, and we're going to go back to section 1.8 and learn about exponents. So if b is a real number and n is a whole number, then b with a little superscript n on it means b times b times b, and we do that so that there's n b's that we're multiplying together. So b with that little n superscript is what we call an exponential expression and is read as b to the nth power, or sometimes we just say b to the n. In an exponential expression, b is what we call the base of the expression, and n is the exponent. Or sometimes we call it the power, but exponent is better. So there's two things to note. B to the first power is the same thing as b, and anything raised to the 0 power is the same thing as 1. So when we evaluate expressions that involve exponents, we have to be careful when identifying the base. So the base of the expression is the value closest to the exponent. So for example, in this first one, -2 in parentheses raised to the 4th power means we're taking -2, and that's the base because it's in the parentheses, times a -2 times a -2 times a -2, which gives us a positive 16. Without the parentheses, though, this is a -2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which gives us a -16. So it's important you pay attention to that. So let's do some examples. And remember, we still have to follow the order of operations. So the order of operations says simplify what's in grouping symbols like parentheses first. So we have 2 times 5 in parentheses, so we need to make that, multiply those together. So that's 10 squared minus 2 times 5 squared. Now the order of operations says we do exponents next. So 10 squared is 100. Minus 2 times 5 squared is 25. Okay, then the order of operations says we do multiplication and division. So we have -2 times 25, which gives us a -50. So 100 minus 50 is 50. Okay, you should try to do the next 2 examples on your own after pausing the video, and then you can come back and look. Okay, so for 1.8.2, starting by simplifying what's in the parentheses first, we have 1 minus 9, which equals -8, and that is squared. Then we have plus 2 minus 3 is a -1, and -1 is cubed. So -8 squared is -8 times a -8, plus -1 cubed is -1 times -1 times -1. So remember, multiplication before addition. So -8 times -8 is positive 64, plus -1 times -1 times -1 is -1. So we have 64 plus a -1, which is 63. Okay. Now for 1.8.3, we're going to plug 2 in for y and then evaluate. So we have 5 plus 3 times 2 squared all over 2 minus 2 cubed. So let's see, that is 5 plus exponents first, so 3 times 2 squared is 4. And in the denominator, we have 2 minus 2 cubed is 8. So carrying on, we have, let's see, multiplication next. So 5 plus 3 times 4 is 12 over 2 minus 8. So 5 plus 12 is 17. And 2 minus 8 is a negative 6. So we can write that as negative 17 over 6. Okay, moving on to the next page. Well, let's not move on to the next page because that's the next section. So we'll stop here and pick it up in another video.